After managing more than 300 million in meta spend, I can tell you there's one setting that's responsible for more wasted budget than anything else. I'm talking about the CBO versus ABO decision. I have seen brands feeding thousands of dollars into ads that should have been killed weeks ago, and I don't want that to happen to you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what CBO and ABO are, which one you're using, when to use each, and which structure will be most profitable for your brand. If you're new here, my name is Frank. I run and operate RedMelon, and for the last 8 years, I've been taking 7-figure e-commerce brands to 8 figures with meta ads, growth consulting, and creative strategy. As an example, for this client specifically, we spent $217K at a 2.6 ROAS and got back $563K in sales just with a CBO setup. But we also use ABO setups for our clients, and I'm gonna show you that too and how it performs. Alright, let's start with ABO, which stands for Ad Set Budget Optimization. In plain English, you are the one decided how much each ad set spends. So if you have 3 ad sets in one campaign, you might set one to $50 a day, another to $100 a day, another to $30 a day. You are allocating the budget manually, ad set by ad set. This used to be the default way everyone ran meta ads, and back in 2019-2020 it made sense. The algorithm wasn't nearly as good at distributing spend on its own, so media buyers took control. The problem, it means you are the algorithm. You are the one checking performance every day, shifting budgets manually, pausing underperformers, and increasing what's working. Now that's a lot of work, and if you're running an e-commerce brand, you probably have better things to do with your time. So ABO gives you control, but control isn't always an advantage, especially in those cases where the algorithm can do this faster and better than any human. Which brings us to CBO. CBO stands for Campaign Budget Optimization, and the difference is simple but powerful. Instead of setting a budget on each ad set, you set up one budget at the campaign level. Let's say $500 a day. Meta's algorithm then distributes that $500 across your ad sets automatically, sending more money to whatever's performing best in real time. Think of it like this. If you have 4 ad sets and one of them is crushing it at a 4x ROAS while the others are sitting at 1.2, the algorithm will naturally push more spend towards that winner. You don't have to lift a finger. The reason CBO works so well today is that Meta's machine learning has gotten dramatically better. It can read early signals like click-through rate, add to cart behaviors, even scroll patterns way before you have enough data to make a manual decision. It's processing thousands of data points per second. We are processing a spreadsheet at 9 a.m. over coffee. Now, before you think I'm about to tell you that CBO is the answer to everything, hold on, because there's a real problem with it that trips up almost everyone. Most media buyers who switch to CBO run into the same issue. They upload new creatives, launch a fresh ad set, and it gets almost zero spend. The algorithm just keeps feeding budget to whatever's already running, and your new ads never get a fair chance to prove themselves. And when that happens, they think CBO is broken, they switch back to ABO, and they are right back to managing budgets manually. I'm going to show you exactly how to fix this later in the video, but first, let's make sure you actually know which one you're running right now, because most people don't. This is going to take you literally 10 seconds. So first thing you want to do is go to the ads manager and make sure that you are looking at the campaign level here. Once you are sure that you're looking at the campaign level, I want you to look for the column named budget. If you see a budget number like the one I'm showing you right now, 600 here, 650, and so on, that's campaign budget optimization, or CBO. That means Meta is managing the budget distribution across the ad sets. As an example, using CBO for this specific client, we spent $217K at a 2.6 ROAS and got back $563K in sales. Now you're looking at another account we are auditing at the moment, and as you can see, in the last 7 days, they spent $14K and got $17K back at a 1.2 ROAS with an ABO setup. And the way you realize this is an ABO setup is essentially make sure that you are looking at the campaign level, and when you see the budget column, you'll see this text that pops up here using ad set budget. And the second thing I want you to check, just pick one random campaign, go to the ad set level, and look at the budget column. If you're using an ABO, what you'll notice is that the daily average budget is visible here, and you can even edit it. This doesn't necessarily mean that ABO is a bad choice for e-commerce, but I wanted to show you an account that's using full ABO setup. Now, if you're finding this useful so far, do me a quick favor and hit the like button. It helps YouTube show this to more e-commerce owners who need it, and it helps me keep making videos like this one. Now you know the difference and you can spot it. The real question is, which one should you be using? Let's start with when CBO makes sense, and then I'll show you the specific cases where I personally recommend ABO. So here's my honest take after running this across hundreds of e-commerce brands. If you're an e-commerce brand, CBO should be your default. First, it creates a competitive environment for your creatives. Every new ad set you launch has to earn its spend by outperforming what's already there. Your account naturally gravitates toward your best ads over time. Second, it saves you hours of manual budget management. Instead of logging in each morning to shift 50 here, 100 there, you spend that time on what actually moves the needle. Better creatives, better offers, better landing pages. Third, it scales more smoothly. Because Meta is optimizing in real time, you avoid these sharp performance swings you get when you manually crank budget up 50% overnight. Now, I don't want to pretend that CBO is perfect for every situation. There are specific scenarios where ABO can make sense. But here's the catch. It requires proper management for it to be efficient. Let me walk you through exactly when and why. Alright, let's be fair. ABO isn't dead. There are real use cases where it earns its place. But you need to understand what you're signing up for. The scenario one is pure creative testing on equal footing. Let's say you're launching 5 completely different creative concepts in the same week. Different angles, different hooks, different formats. And you want each one to get a fair shot at spend, regardless of what's already winning in your account. This is where ABO can work. You give each ad set the same daily budget, say $50 each, and you're guaranteed that every concept gets tested equally. No favoritism from the algorithm. Why does this matter? Because in CBO, Meta might look at early engagement signals like click-through rate, thumbs-up radio, and decide to pour all the ad spend into one concept before the others have a fair chance to prove themselves on actual purchases. And high engagement doesn't always mean low CPA. So an ad that gets a lot of clicks might eat up all the budget, while a quieter ad that actually converts better gets no ad spend. With ABO, you're essentially saying, I don't want the algorithms to pick favorites yet. Let me collect the data and then I'll decide. The scenario 2 is scaling individual winners independently. Here's another situation. You find a creative that's working really well inside a testing campaign or a scaling campaign. With ABO, you can scale that specific ad set from 100 to 300 to 700 without affecting anything else. You have surgical control over budget per ad set. So if you're the type of media buyer who wants to scale winners individually and you're actively managing the account every single day, ABO gives you that precision. But here's what I want to be upfront about. Both of these scenarios require active hands-on management. This is not a set it and forget it setup. With ABO, you are the optimization engine. You need to be on the account daily, checking performance, shifting budget, pausing losers, and scaling winners. If you're not doing that consistently, ABO will silently bleed your budget into underperforming ads and you won't even notice until it's too late. And if you think you can beat Meta's algorithm today, you better be good. So if you don't have the time, the team, or the discipline to manage budgets daily, ABO is going to cost you more than it saves you. That's the honest truth. So ABO has its place, but only if you manage it properly. Now, CBO has a catch. There's a lot of people that don't like to use it. CBO has one big objection. People say, when I launch new ads in a CBO, they don't get any spend. And they are right. But let's see if we can fix this. This is the part that's completely going to change how you think about CBO. When you launch a new ad set inside a CBO campaign, it has to compete against everything already performing. So your brand new creative might get $2 of spend and get killed before it ever had a chance. Here's the fix. Ad set spending limits, and I'm gonna show you exactly how you can set it up. So the first thing you wanna do is pick a CBO campaign and click on edit. Once you are able to edit, pick one of the ad sets. Scroll down until you get to the budget section and click on ad set spending limits. You want to check this box here. You want to switch from percentage value to dollar value. And finally, you will add an average daily minimum in this specific new ad set with new creatives. A lot of clients ask me what's the right amount to set up at the average daily minimum box. My rule of thumb is to set this minimum at least 1x your target CPA. Let's assume your target CPA is $50, so let's set the average daily minimum to $50 a day. That forces Meta to give this new ad set at least $50 of daily spend so it can actually collect meaningful data. And here's the key, you don't leave that minimum on forever. I run it for 7 days. After 7 days, you remove the minimum and let the ad set compete freely. And after 7 days, there are 3 scenarios that play out. Let me show you this. So let me explain with a graph. This axis corresponds to ad spend, and this axis corresponds to time expressed in days. Let's go with the scenario 1, which is finding a winning ad. Winner ads will behave like this. They'll start spending the minimum, and then they'll start to pick up and spend more as the days go by. What happened with with this winner ad is that it started spending the minimum and then it took off way before reaching the 7-day window. So essentially Meta gave more ad spend to this ad because the performance was strong. That's the dream. That's the best possible scenario that you can see. The scenario 2 is the average performer. What happens with average performers is it spends its minimum daily budget, hits roughly your target CPA, but doesn't pull extra spend before the 7-day window as the winner did. So the ad spend would look like something like this. And then when you pull out the minimum, it could go one of two ways. Either it keeps stable or it slowly fades. Either way, you got your data. And the third scenario is the underperformer. We're gonna mark it in red here. So what happens with the underperformers is that they spend the bare minimum within the 7 days window and maybe even at 2 or 3x your CPA, which we can't see in this graph, but that's something that you could eventually see in your ad account. But when you remove the minimum after 7 days, the algorithm kills it naturally and turns its spend to 0 or almost 0. But the good news is that you only lost 7 days of controlled spend instead of endlessly feeding a loser in ABO. In all three scenarios, you win. You either found a scaler, got useful data, or cut a loser quickly with limited downside. And that's the beauty of CBO with ad set minimums. You get the best of both worlds. And notice what just happened. We addressed the two main reasons people use ABO: fair testing and budget control, but inside a CBO structure. Ad set minimums give your new creatives a fair shot, and the 7-day removals gives you a clear decision framework. You get the data without giving up the scaling advantage. Now, here's the thing. Using CBO correctly is just one piece of the game. The real lever for scaling your account is making better ads consistently. That's what separates the brands stuck at 6 or 7 figures from the ones breaking into 8. I made a full breakdown of the exact system we use to create winning ads every single week. Watch it right here, subscribe if you find this valuable, and see you next week.